Hello everyone, Judy here at URE Farm, and I'm standing here next to my beautiful Health Kick tomatoes. They're just doing terrific this year. I'm so pleased to see how they're coming along so far. Now, I've grown these tomatoes for probably more than 10 years, this variety, and I can expect to produce at least 140 pounds of tomatoes from 12 plants using this variety. Tomatoes that I turn into sauce, for sauce that I can and we use in the wintertime. Now, I've grown tomatoes for probably more than 30 years. I've grown tomatoes for markets. I've grown tomatoes in our home garden, and I've grown greenhouse tomatoes in our greenhouses. So today I'd like to share with you some of the things I've learned over the years as I've grown tomatoes. So I want to share with you 6 simple steps you can follow to increase your yield and quality when you're growing tomatoes. So let's get you on the road to tomato magic with these 6 simple steps that can take you to your dream harvest. Step number 1, success begins with healthy soil. How do we manage for healthy soil? Principle 1, maximize presence of living roots. Without living roots in the soil, the microbiology slows in existence. The increases in microbiology in the soil because of the living roots is directly responsible for healthy soil structure creation. Plants take carbon from the air and move it into the soil through their roots. Plant root exudates feed the microbial life in the soil, which in turn provide nutrients for your plants. Principle 2, minimize disturbance. We sold our tiller. To easily establish garden beds, first I cut the cover crop that was growing here this winter. Then I put down temporary ground cover where I want to establish planting beds for this year. Now these temporary ground covers will help terminate the cover crop and also help warm the soil so that soon the area will be ready for planting. When I'm ready to plant, I will simply take up the ground cover and I will have a bed ready to put my plants in. Principle 3, maximize biodiversity. Diversity improves the whole system. Use a variety of plants in your cover crops. Principle 4, keep the soil covered. Keeping the soil covered with cover crops, your crops, or mulch will protect from erosion, buffer the soil temperature, slow rainfall runoff, and aid rainfall infiltration. Step 2, choose the right variety for your situation. Do you need sauce tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, hybrid tomatoes, or slicing tomatoes? Do you need determinate or indeterminate? Determinate tomato varieties reach their mature height, set all their fruit at about the same time, and stop growing. Indeterminate tomato varieties are vining plants that continue to grow longer and set fruit throughout the growing season. Choose varieties that are resistant to tomato diseases that exist in your area. Also choose varieties that acclimate to your climate. I choose to use hybrid Health Kick tomatoes, a determinate variety for canning and fresh eating. They are a meaty tomato well suited to making sauce, which I can. Also, they are very good for eating fresh. I choose Cherokee Purple tomato for a delicious heirloom that is great for eating fresh. Step 3, grow your own plants. You don't have to have even a small greenhouse. You can start your seedlings in late winter or early spring under fluorescent lights in your home. I used fluorescent soft white bulbs. Then when the weather begins to warm, you can set them outside in the sunshine on warm days, being careful to let them adapt to sunshine slowly. By growing your own plants, you have more choice in the variety you will grow. You also have better control over plant quality and the timing of transplant maturity. You can mix your own potting soil or buy one that is ready to use. I have mixed my own organic potting soil in the past. However, now I prefer to buy a potting mix that is ready to use. I would advise buying a mix that is organic or as natural as possible. Fox Farm Ocean Forest has worked well for me. Step 4. Don't get too anxious to plant outside. I know how it is. Springtime is here, the weather's warming. You have these beautiful tomato plants ready to go outside. You think frost danger is over, but you're not sure, and it's so tempting to plant outside. But wait until you are sure. A late spring frost can kill your plants, setting you back many weeks. Also, planting in soil that has not warmed enough will stunt your plants and set you back. Tomatoes planted in soil that has not warmed sufficiently cannot take up necessary nutrients and will be stunted, as you can see here. Step 5. Supplying optimum nutrition for your plants. Tomatoes do well with aged manure or compost added to the plant bed before planting. I also use this Neptune's Harvest fish and seaweed fertilizer as an all-purpose fertilizer if my plants appear to need more than just the soil, manure, or compost provide. Step 6. Staking and pruning. Now this is one of my Health Kick tomatoes, and to give them an optimum opportunity to grow, I'm going to do some trimming and some suckering here, and I want to show you how I do that. So also I have put up the stakes and tied the tomatoes up, and I did that with a Florida weave, or some people call it a stake and weave method. See these little suckers here? I'm going to take that off, and there's one. Also, these lower leaves that are so close to the ground, I'm going to go ahead and take those off. That will help with airflow. And there's another small sucker. Now you can see this one right here, that's the first one that grows next to the first bloom. That sucker is always larger. So I'm going to leave that one on there for now. And you can see right there, I already have a little tomato pollinated. There you can see more suckers coming there. And there's a tiny one there, but I'm going to leave those for now. This is a determinate tomato plant, not indeterminate, which means that it will not just keep growing indefinitely. It will have a definite point at which it stops growing. So I don't want to take too many suckers off, but it will still benefit from some suckering as it gets bigger. So if I do that, then the tomatoes that I do have will be larger, and more air can get to the plant, which will help prevent diseases. Now I've taken all the suckers off of all the plants that I wanted to take off and trimmed a few of the leaves, and you can see I already have stakes up on the row, one at each end and one between each plant. Now I have baling twine that we took from our hay that I intend to use to tie up the tomatoes. So the first thing I'll do is tie to this first post. Then take the twine and put it by this tomato and wrap it around the next post. And then I'll go by this next tomato and wrap it around another post. And then tie on another twine. And so on down the row. I finished the first side and now I'm coming down the other side and doing the same thing. Putting it by the tomato plant and then wrapping it around each post. And then I will tie it to this last post at the end. And that will hold the tomatoes up. Now when they grow about this much again, I'll come back and do the same thing again, just a little higher, and so on as the plant grows. 10 days later, I tied this row up again. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.